What is up, guys? So, as promised, this is the video regarding January 6th and what happened. Yeah, a lot to talk about there. So, the way that I'm going to approach this is coming from a psychological perspective, and because there's an infinite amount of angles that you could take this from, but I'm going to approach it from a psychological perspective and just tell you guys how I processed what was going on yesterday and the different angles of it. So, without further ado, this is going to be it. So, okay, so we have a president leading a rally, and for the majority of the time, things were peaceful. Congress gets together, they're doing their thing, and all of a sudden we have people storming and tearing down windows, breaking in, bullying cops, causing a riot and whatnot. Now, how do we process what's going on? So I'll tell you what I started doing. First, as with anyone, I think there's surprise. Some people may say that they weren't surprised, but a capital, that's pretty surprising. So I think, like a lot of people, I went on social media. I started looking at what people were saying. And this is where I really started to think when I started to look at the different responses on social media. So I don't know what your feed looked like on your various accounts, but mine, I could see a lot of self-righteousness. I could see a lot of pointing the finger, and I could see a lot of, ha, I told you so. And so here is the thing that I saw with a lot of that going on. Everybody thought they were right. Everybody thought they were right. And here's the thing too. I hope the truth comes out one day about what really went on. Was it Antifa people? Was it legitimate Trump supporters? Was it both? Was it staged? Was it not staged? To me, this kind of reminds me of the 9/11 thing. Like, how on earth could something like that happen on our homeland? Like some people just hijack planes and then they go in the thing and, oh yeah, it's possible, and then same thing with our Capitol. It's like, okay, we're just going to say some thugs can storm the Capitol without anything going on. So you have the perspective of, is it an inside job? Was it staged? Was it planned? You have all those different perspectives. But here's the thing. Everybody, with their perspective, thought they were right. And, because this will go down in history, and everyone keeps speaking of Civil War and whatnot, here's the thing that I'm learning about people. When we face times of uncertainty, logic goes out the window and it's all emotion. It doesn't matter what facts are there. It's going to be emotion, at least in the present. And when that is the case, when emotions are high, there is no reason. There is no, hey man, can I talk to you? Okay, well, what about this? What about, no, I believe it was this. I believe it was this. You can't tell me otherwise. I know, I know it's this, da-da-da-da. So there is none of that going on. So I saw some people trying to, have conversations and it just got nowhere. And, so it really led me to think, how does, like, if I was a leader, how would I have handled that? Like, if I was in President Trump's shoes, if I was one of the members of Congress, because they all gave their addresses as well. How would I respond to those things? And, I think the biggest part to take away from this is that everyone had responses in what happened with it. Everyone had responses, and with everyone's responses, with the passion in which they believed, they were vehemently saying the other people were wrong and therefore pushing them away. So one of my thoughts was, okay, the last thing that I need to post right now is anything that is causing people to split further. That's the last thing I need to do. The biggest thing I need to do is unify. And it was really, really interesting for me to watch the us versus them mentality from every possible side that you could have. I just, in the beginning, listed the different angles that we could have taken this from. Oh, here's another angle that I didn't mention that was there. I also saw a lot of, in my feed, a lot of people of color who were, I don't want to say proud because they weren't proud. No one was proud of what was going on, but it was almost a chance to like point at the other side and say, see, look, they're the ones, causing the chaos. They're the ones doing that simply because of all the stuff that went on with BLM. And I was telling some people, I was like, look, BLM is, the people who are protesting is not the enemy at all. A lot of these people are good. It's the crazies within there that are bad. It's like in the same manner. It's not a lot of the people on the right who are bad. It's the crazies that we're talking about. And by definition, if we're talking about crazies on both sides of the bell curve, it's going to be a very, very minuscule point in the population. But there seems to be some massive divide right now. Even on the right versus left, it's like, look, the right versus left, why are we dividing so much? It's the majority of us want the same thing. We want to be left alone. We want the ability to have our rights, provide for our families, etc. Like, we're not all as, split as what the media says. Yet, yesterday was very differential in terms of perspectives, opinions. I'm right, you're wrong. This is what happened. I'm convinced of it. And so, I don't know. It was just really interesting for me to look at the perspectives and understand. We read about history. We read about wars. We read about riots. We read about these things. So it's interesting to learn, how are you responding in these times of crisis? What is your reaction? Are you a sit back type? Are you oh, this is interesting, I'm just gonna, learn about things, but, not really get involved. I don't really want to put my hands, on things, or are you the type to go do something? Are you the type to speak up? Whatever. So one, this is really interesting to learn about ourselves, but two, because we are currently living through one of these things that's going to be documented in history, it's very fascinating to watch mass psychology take place. Mass psychology is one of the most important things to study. How do the masses respond in real time? We are witnessing this, and this just goes to show, no matter how much we like to talk about logic and reason and, we're progressing and whatnot, at the core of human beings, we are emotional. Hence why storytelling is the most moving thing in the world, because it's emotion. It's not logic, it's not number, it's not data, it's stories. And so, I think this is just something to think about, that knowing at the core, people are emotional. And I would say the most powerful emotion that humans have is love. But I would say one extremely high up there as well is fear. And I'll tell you what, another perspective that I forgot to mention at the beginning that I think is also valid. So a bully is bullying a kid. The kid is smaller, the kid is younger. The bully is bigger, he's making fun of him, laughing, looking at his friends, and making fun of him, just putting him in a corner. The kid has one of three reactions. Cower and take it and just be traumatized. Freeze, so not count, you're just frozen by fear. They're just looking, and they may get hit once or twice, but they're still just like shook by everything that's going on. And then the third one, it's not just a little bit of aggression. You have a hyper aggression take place. And sometimes what happens with this is the little younger guy or girl just absolutely beats up the bully. It's like, whoa, what just happened there? But you saw a extreme amount of strength come through, and extreme amount of determination, because something lit up because of fear, but it went on the aggression instead of going back and retreating. So where am I going with that? Part of me sees the perspective of this too. Trump fans, Trump supporters tend to be put in the group of the patriots of the country and, all this stuff. Part of me goes, okay, 70-something million people say fraudulent election, and they see 2 months go by and they don't see anything being done. I see fear. I see fear because I see, if the system says we don't want to listen and we're not going to put this through anything like that, Well, these people now think we're being taken over. We're being taken over. We got to go do something. And I can understand the perspective of that, saying, oh, the patriotic thing to do is to get rid of this government. They're not going to protect my rights. You know, it's in the Declaration of Independence that the people should, you know, get rid of that government. So that's what I'm going to do. And so that's what you have some people doing. Now, I don't think that's the majority at all, but I'm saying that is a perspective. So again, I think with this, one of the first things that you should do in times like this, or that I'm observing at least, I should say, is deploy love. So I was thinking about this. I was like, okay, if I want to unify, love. Gotta love. Part of love is listening. Part of love is putting others before you. So if part of love is listening and putting others before you, I was like, okay, I need to understand your perspective. You're going to be emotional. You're going to be all this stuff, but I'm not here to argue. I'm here to listen. So I think in doing that, that is a way, like with all the perspectives I've listed so far, which may be like 5 or 6 or 7 or something like that by now, there are so many different sides to this. And you know what? Similarly to kids who get in a fight and they have to go tell their parents, no, mom, he did this. No, mom, he did that. No, it was her. It was him. It was, you know, all this stuff. The more people that are involved, the more complex the scenarios get and the more perspectives. Because you have, like, even within this election, the amount of variance of perspective are crazy. And so one of the ways to simmer down people is to hear them out directly. I hear you. I understand you. I get where you're coming from. No, you're not crazy. No, you're not crazy. I hear you. I hear you. And frankly, I'm not, you know, I don't know all the next steps, but I do know this, that if we were to hear people out and listen, especially with those who we disagree with, there would be a lot more peace because people feel heard. That's exactly what happens all the time in negotiations. You may not always get what you want, but if you feel heard, you feel represented, and you're okay that not everything went your way. Of course, you're not going to accept something that completely goes against you, but we know we always don't get what we want. We know that's life, but we want to feel heard. We want to feel represented. And I think individually, if we were to do that to each other, again, especially with people with whom we disagree with, that's important because at the end of the day, we disagree on 10% of the things and agree on 90. And with those things that we disagree on, at least at this point, I think there is more emotion being put into this than needs to be. Again, I can hear the argument of someone that says, no, if you knew what was going on, if what was really going on, you'd do more. Look, I have my own thoughts too, but there's the emotional side and then there's the logical side. So yeah, anyways, yeah, I just wanted to put that out. This is my reaction to January 6th. It is more of a psychological analysis of things and a simple response of love and listen, care. So yeah, that's it. I guess let me know y'all's thoughts. Y'all agree? Y'all disagree? If there's a perspective that I maybe missed in this one, let me know that one too. I would love to hear it. So, all right, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.